expenditures, and it will come through Parliament to Public Accounts Committee. If you have any issue with it, you can raise it. You understand? So things that has been provided for in the Constitution cannot be
Does the NPP...
But let me tell you something. You see, when we say somebody is rich, it's not because of the quantum of money he has, but the quantum of revenue he has as compared to expenditure. When there's a surplus, then he's rich. So when we are talking about effect of COVID, it's not just about monies received from individuals in this country or IMF and all, but the amount of money spent as a result of the advent of COVID.
But that's what people want to know.
And the revenue loss as a result. So it's a combination of two things.
Is that not the accountability they ask for?
So let me
Okay.
You realize that yes, it's true. I must commend public spirited Ghanaians who contributed towards alleviating the plight of a lot of people who didn't have, and also World Bank. But the effect of COVID was higher and bigger than that. For instance, if you take just revenue shortfall in the year 2020, was close to 14 billion Ghana as a result of non-collection of import duties and all that. If you take COVID expenditures alone, because it is an extraneous item, budget item in our budget. Without COVID, we're not going to have anything like that, as part of our expenditure for the year. So the combination of just that two in the year 2020 alone is 24 billion Ghana cedi. Put together all the monies that we got as a result of donation from IMF and from all those places. Does it amount to 24 billion? It does not. Secondly, if you look at the indirect jobs lost by individuals, including yourself. So we are not talking about just
including
government, I mean your industry.
Oh, right, okay.
But I know it will still affect you,
of
no
course,
matter what issue.
Of course,
all of us were affected. Yeah. So, unless, of course, you started producing sanitizers and face masks.
I wish I had, actually. The face mask, I know, they're so expensive.
Very, very expensive.
Now it's only 1 cedi.
You see? So the effect is enormous. The negative effect is enormous and more than that of the direct positive effect. The indirect effect is also huge. Government also lost a lot of revenue, and government still loses a lot of revenue as we speak now. So there's no argument at all as to the impact of COVID on the entire economy. I'm talking about just government expenditure. Go to the departments and agencies. The cost of running their businesses and all that, but that is not to say that Ghanaians must not be asking about the nitty-gritty of what the expenditure. It will come there, and like I told you, it is already stated in the budget. Public accounts or Auditor General will go through at the end of the year. If there's a need for public accounts to go through, Parliament will have the opportunity. All of us will have the opportunity to go through.
Okay, now, in fact, still talking about accountability, one of the reasons a lot of Ghanaians are kicking against the e-levy is what they call a lack of accountability from this administration. They want to know, for instance, what you've used all the funds that you have raised for in this country, all the funds that you had access to, the loans you have taken. They want accountability. And so until you're able to convince them that this is what we have done with the monies we have received over the years, they don't understand why.
I don't want to quote John Mama. When John Mama was confronted with this argument, he said, all the loans we took, it went through Parliament, and the need for the loans were all stated. And after it was used, it was known through Public Accounts Committee and all that. But beyond that, sometimes we get a lot of things wrong. For instance, there was this I think Auditor General report that was talking about some 12 billion Ghana cedi that was lost within a period of time. First of all, it was within a period of time from 2016 to date. So it was not as if we have 12 billion there and we misappropriated it. Chunk of that money, about close to 90% of that money, was loans and recoverables that government ought to have collected from individuals, businesses, and all, dating back to 2015 to date. That government was unable, but it's like a revolving fund. Every year you collect some, you incur other losses. So if you just see this and start concluding that government is not transparent, government is involving itself in corruption, you are getting it wrong. And not that 5% of the total is about procurement malfeasance, procurement irregularities. Procurement irregularities does not mean that you've embezzled funds. Maybe you, as part of your procurement plan, go off per the PPA law, all companies are expected to have their procurement plan for the year, at the beginning of the year. If you decided that you are going to procure this diary with this size, and you ended up procuring a diary half of the size, it's a procurement irregularity. It does not mean that but in terms of auditing, it will be flagged. You even explain that they will look at the costs involved and flag it as an irregularity. You understand? If you talk about misappropriation, it does not mean that one has squandered the money, but I wanted to buy this, but I decided, due to exigencies, I decided to use it to buy sanitizer. But I ought to have gone back to the procurement process, be able to bid again and all that. You didn't do that. You see, so these are things that I think that we need more explanation and understanding of what it is. But hey, we are doing politics, so people hear it. But I understand that there are some who clearly don't understand what they are holding, and they will be parroting as if they do, and creating all kinds of
from both sides.
Oh, well, depending on who you are interviewing, depending on who
depending on who I'm listening to, actually.
Well, so, but it's important that you, as journalists, who also probe into some of these statements that are.
Well, when the opportunity comes, we do probe.
You must.
Yeah.
But you see, it is difficult to understand if it is rather a journalist who is also misleading people who ask the person questions.
Which journalist has misled anybody?
I have heard a lot of journalists say, hey, government should not implement the e-levy because government could have used the 12 billion reported in the Auditor General as if the money was there.
But do you understand the sentiment against the e-levy?
Yes, I do. You see, right from history, maybe you can even go to medieval years in our lives as a people. No nation had accepted levy or taxes with glee. It's something that nobody wants to hear. But all of us want to also benefit from government programs, government arrangement and all that. And the way it is, we've seen some before in this country where, for instance, the NDC was introducing VAT at the rate at which they wanted to introduce, around 17.5%. We said, no, this is a tax that we just introduce. The calculation of it is difficult. People didn't understand. A lot of education.
And you kicked against it really well.
We did. The NDC went back, put together proper communication strategy. That was the first time I saw Spilgabra exhibiting the skills he had. Since then, all the skills has got missing. I mean,
John, you just had to.
No, but that's the first time I saw Spilgabra doing so well. Since then, all the skills has vanished. Really?
Well, he hasn't had the opportunity.
Oh, but he's been minister. He didn't excel.
He didn't?
Oh, he didn't.
Are you sure? We'll come back to
his people said so because he decided not to vote for him. You see, but it's a thumbs up for them that they went back, repackaged the thing, came back at a reduced percentage, 10% or no other. As we speak now, we are almost the 17.5%. You understand? So it's the same process, and I believe that it has afforded us opportunity to listen to government the more. The rationale behind it, the need for it.
But people want a further reduction.
Further reduction, I don't begrudge anybody pushing for further reduction. But the effect of further reduction lead to some effect. You understand? No, we cannot control 87% of our resources that we need to run our budget are all gotten from outside through loans, grants, and all internal domestic borrowing and all that. So something must be done. And I think that is something that all of us must be worried about, because with time we will run aground.
Right.
With time.
I'm sure you heard the news today when the Supreme Court ruled the Deputy Speaker can vote while presiding over affairs in Parliament. John, you've heard it.
I heard it. Yeah. It is a normal thing that ought not to have generated argument at all. Because you see, the framers of our constitution was particular about representation. We have 275 constituencies and they all must be represented in Parliament. That's why at any given point in time, if a member of Parliament opts to become a speaker, his seat is declared vacant for a by-elections to be held in order for that constituency to have a rep in Parliament. So at no given point in time that your exercise of an additional function should deprive your constituents from representing them in government. I think that this is simple and it shouldn't have gotten the Supreme Court.
The minority described it as a judicial support for e-levy.
They should make argument.
Which one is the argument?
The argument is that the arguments that they made has fallen flat. That's more important. Are you saying that we are going to live with e-levy argument throughout our life?
Well, there's a case at hand, isn't it?
No, it is not only about e-levy. It is about taking decisions in Parliament that at any given point in time, you can have your normal parliamentary business with 1/3 in Parliament. But if you want to take a decision, and I'm saying that decisions in Parliament is not just about e-levy, it is about our daily lives. So that this ruling has afforded all Parliament opportunity to have all their reps represented and being part of decision making, so that as we speak now, anytime government wants to take a decision, quorum will be more than half of the 275.
Okay.
Which includes whether a speaker, whether the speaker is an MP or not, that is a deputy speaker.
Right.
This is common sense. I saw it, so I was not waiting for the verdict. You
already knew the outcome.
That should be the outcome.
But I think it will be easy for you now to pass the e-levy because there had been such a stiff opposition to it.
But we are running a country,
right?
And we need to carry everybody along. It is not just about e-levy; it's about decision-making body.
But why has e-levy dominated all the discussions so much?
I don't think it dominated as a result. That's why it went to Parliament.
Well, no, I'm not talking about what the Supreme Court did, but e-levy keeps coming up.
As part
Do you
of
think
parliamentary discussions?
Yes, topical.
I think it's important because you see, if government decides that 10% of my income for the year in total is going to be generated by a specific levy or a specific tax, and it has not gone through, and government